Hey there YouTube, here we are with the third episode of PTQ Prize Packs, the series where I won a box of packs, specifically this box, and we go ahead, open up 3 packs, talk about them in both draft and sealed, and sort of work our way on. So let's go ahead and open up the next 3. Remember last time we opened a pretty weird set of packs, no like bomb rares or anything, but a lot of good removals. So let's go ahead and hop right into the Dragon's Maze pack. So like always, anytime I draft a pack, as you've seen in some of my other videos, if you watch my raw footage, if there's anything that's like I consider first pickable, which is what I'm focusing on, I bring it immediately to the front. So we have a Handa Squares or Hazda Square Squad, Snare Squad, Maze Behemoth, Mind Static, Simic Cluestone, Riot Piker, Opalate Gatekeepers, Crawl Warrior, Wake the Reflections, All for the Guilds, Battering Krasis. So our commons out of them are extraordinary, but a lot are like playable and solid. Our first uncommon is Mob the Obsidian. Our second is Goblin Test Pilot. Our third is Blaster Genius, and our rare is a Breaking and Entering, and we have a Boros Guildgate. Now, so there's nothing like insane in this pack. There's just a lot of good cards. Like we have Blaster Genius is solid. It's just expensive because it's 6 mana. Breaking and Entering, I've never seen it see any relevant limited play. I mean, the entering ability is fine. Blast Genius is probably best. I'm just gonna pull it together now. Since there's no insane bombs, I'm just gonna pull together. So right now the 3 cards that are probably strongest in this pack are Mob the Obsidian, Blast of Genius, and Crawl Warrior. Mob the Obsidian gets underrated a lot, but it's incredibly powerful. It makes combat really, really difficult for a lot of people. And I personally like drafting the Obsidian sort of deck, so I'd probably lean towards it over the Blast of Genius. I know some people just like taking Blast of Genius as a removal spell. And it's really between those two. Crawl Warrior's pretty distant third. Snare Squad's also fine. But this pack is pretty mediocre as a whole, so we'd probably be judging the guild we enter based on the other picks that we get later on in the pack. I wouldn't try and force anything, not especially with this first pick, so I wouldn't commit myself early to it. Whereas here, like, we have an early Devour Flesh, which is fine. Mugging, probably the best red common. It and Sky Knight Legionnaire are pretty solid. Purge the Profane's fine. Sky Games is not. We have a straight Slate Steel Ruffin, Orzhov Guildgate, Adaptive Snapjob, Bomber Core is fine. Alpha Authority is our first uncommon. Second is Simic Charm. Third is Minar Drake. We have a Gyro Sage and a foil Mortis Strider. So probably our like depending on the colors we're in, it's probably the Devour Flesh or the Mugging. It's solid removal. Simic Charm and Gyro Sage are both good. I've seen Gyro Sage do some pretty nasty things. Same with Simic Charm. The question is like how much we abandoned our first color, like or our Mob the Obsidian. Because if we were still in the colors of black white, we'd have a Devour Flesh. But I mean, it's interesting to look at. Here we have a couple of good Simic cards. Gyro Sage can go into any green deck, and here we have a Mugging. Nothing else too insane. Like Bomber Core is fine. We have a black-white land. So if we look at it in sealed and like compare it with this one, right? Like we have not much Simic in this pack. Like we have a Crawl Warrior and a Gatekeepers, but not much else to back it up. So pretty bad set of 3 or first 2 packs if we were trying to build a sealed pool out of it. Like we'd have just a lot of playables, which is fun. Like you want a lot of playables, but that's what you're gonna get probably anyway. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at the next one. Bellows Lizard, Trestle Troll. Augur Spree is quite solid. Very, very powerful. If we're in black-red, or maybe even one of the colors, it's probably worth splashing. Canyon Apparition, Vishano Shank, Racketeer, Sure Shambler, Doorkeeper, Drudge Beetle. Lava Crew is also quite good, so if we're in red, like those two really support. Lee of Sky Knight, also good. Same with the Jorah's Justicar. Risen Sanctuary, and our rare, well, that's a Hollowed Fountain and a foil Sluiceway Scorpion. So disregarding the value of Hollowed Fountain, which, I mean, it's a shockland, right, so it's worth a few bucks. Probably it basically comes down to what our colors are. Hopefully we're blue, white, or red, or black, like so we can at least play one of these 4. Augur Spree is probably the best of the bunch. Then the other 2 comes down to opinion. Like, some people very, very value Lava Crew, just and it is quite a powerful card, mind you. So don't get me wrong. Justicar and Sky Knight both do the same sort of thing. The ability to detain. Sky Knight's probably better just because it has a 3/1 flying body instead of a 2/2, and the flying's probably more relevant than double detain turn. But it certainly is a tempo boost, that's for certain. But if we were doing a sealed pool, like, that makes it even more complicated, because here we've got a black-red, a good red card, and then some like Azorius cards, plus fixing for it. Here we have like some good red cards, and then some good Simic cards, and then a decent black card. So this goes well with like the Augur Spree sort of plan. And here we have an Izzet card, and then here we have why can't I say it? My favorite guild. I can't believe I spaced out on it. Okay, well, that's just a little bit sad that I can't remember Orzhov guild name. Oh, look, there it is. And here we have another good green card. So probably the approach I've probably taken sealed would be Jund, maybe? Green, black, red. I'd probably have to abandon these. Maybe, like, green, black, red gives us... Maybe green, blue, red is probably actually safer, because that way we get the Gyre Sage, the Crawl Warrior, the Simic Charm, the Blast of Genius, these, and we can probably splash the Augur Spree. It'd probably be a lot easier to splash white, what with our Boris Guild Gate, and our Orzhov Guild Gate, and the Hollowed Fountain. Like, this is a pretty weird one. And green, black, blue. Yeah, green, black, blue means we would lose out on the red, which would be removed. Like, this is a pretty rough one, to be honest. Base white also has, base white has a lot more fixing. So maybe we could go base white. I'm not sure if base Azorius would be a right plan, just because of a Lievska. And it'd come down a lot more to the last 3 packs we'd have. But there's that. So pretty complicated sealed pool if we had these 3 packs, and pretty hard to judge and draft as well. But thank you guys all for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe, and check out the other episodes.